Hi YouTube, Wes Stample here, JWS Repair Service. Today we're going to do some component repairs. When I mean component, I just mean part of something. This will be a valve job with new valve seals and valve decarbonizing and cleanup on a 500 Polaris ATV side-by-side engine. They use the 500 in many different models over a great span of years. So this could well apply to you, as well as the 425 is the same head. So stay tuned and we'll get right back to it. Okay, we're back, and here is the head. As you can tell, I've already removed it from the engine. I've pulled the cam out. It has separate caps that hold it in here. I'm going to make a series on this engine because it's a full rebuild from the top to the bottom. So you might take a look on the channel if you need other parts of this build, like if you want to build the bottom end or put the whole engine together and time it up. But for this one, we're just doing the head, so we're focused on decarbonizing, cleaning the valves, replacing the seals, which you should always do. Always replace your valve seals. They're inexpensive, they're prone to wear, and it's super easy to put them on while you're here, and really difficult if you need them down the road. So first off, we're going to start off, and I've got the camera sitting on the workbench, so I apologize for any vibration or whatever may be in the video, but hopefully it's not too bad. Now, first off, before we do anything, we want to go ahead and remove the carbon out of the combustion chamber before we pull the old valves. And what I use for that is just a DeWalt drill with just a little cone wire brush. Now, hang on to this thing when you do it, because it's going to want to move all around. So let me show you that. Now that's pretty good. Let me zoom in here, and you'll see that that's got the vast majority of the carbon out of there. I'm going to hit it just a little bit more right here. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so now what we want to do, let's go back out a little bit. Now what we want to do is we can go ahead and I'm going to blow this off. So, warning for microphones, I'm fixing to use a blower. So hold on to your hats. Okay, headphone warning. Now, if you're not deaf and you can still hear me, now what we're going to do is surface the top of this. And what I use for this is an air grinder with a roll-lock pad. We're just going to lightly hit it to remove any of the gasket material that may still be on here, just to make sure we got a good clean surface. We're not going to hit it hard enough to actually take off any material, because that is a bad thing. Don't do that. So let me grab my roll-lock and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This is a roll-lock pad with an air grinder. You'll see I purposely use a used roll-lock pad. I don't know if you can see that clearly or not, but this is not new. I don't want one that's too abrasive, because I don't want to actually, this is still a soft pad, but I don't want to use one that's too abrasive because I don't really want to remove any material from this. So this will be another headphone warning. So get ready. Starting now. right, and there we go. We've got that. Now I'm going to blow it off one more time, and then we'll remove the valves. So headphone warning one more time. Okay. Now what we're going to do is remove the valves. To do that, it does take a valve spring compressor. And let me zoom out so you can see this. Wrong way. Zoom this out so you can see it. It's a valve spring compressor. It's like a giant C-clamp, but it's specifically made for motorsports or smaller displacement engines, not small engines, because a lot of times those don't need, they've just got a clip that you pull off with, these springs are a lot stronger. So you'll need one for power sports, but let me show you how this thing works. First, we're going to stand it up on its side. It doesn't matter what valve we take out first, but we're going to line this end up, goes on the spring. This will show you, let me zoom in just a bit, get that angle right. Okay, this end with the hole in it goes over the cap. The other end just goes bottoms into the valve, and then we'll push the handle, and that is too tight. The last one I was doing was a narrower head. So this one's too tight, so we just want to compress it enough just to get the keepers to come out. We got some little pliers. We'll take the keepers out. There's one. And there's the other one. And then we'll zoom out a bit. Then I'm going to gently release the clamp, like so. And then that gets my spring and my keeper off, and these are separate pieces here. So the spring and the spring and the keeper retainer, that's what I meant to say. All right, then we can take the valve out, push it out, pull it through the other side, and you can see it's got quite a bit of carbon buildup on it. The sealing surface of the valve itself is, you can see it's really wide. You want that to be a narrow line on there, so that tells you this valve is worn over time. And the way that in power sports, the way they wear, they actually get tighter, so they move their way up, further up into the seat. So though the seat is okay, the valve area is really wide, so it'll wear the valves before it wears the seats. The seats are hardened, so I'll show you that seat a little bit closer if it'll focus. Something like that. Well, it's still kind of hard to see, but you can tell that it's the valve, so that's why I replace the valves every time. So let's go ahead and remove the rest of the valves. It's the same procedure, just we're going to do it on the other one. So I'm going to zoom back out, and we'll get the rest of these valves out. Actually, let me turn this back around the right way. There we go. Keeper, the other keeper, release, spring, and the valve. And then we will do that with the intake. Those are the exhaust valves, and you can always tell an exhaust valve from an intake because the exhaust valves are always smaller. Got both the keepers out. Release. And that valve was a little tight getting out. So one of the reasons we replace those every time. That valve may have been a little bit bent. This machine was out of time due to a stretched timing chain. So though it did run, it sounded awful. The chain was terribly stretched. And in the next video that I show, that'll have the the bottom end in it where I'm replacing the cam gears and stuff. I'll show you why I was replacing the cam gears, but it had jumped time enough that the well, I brushed it off now, but there were you could see there were marks on the piston and the intake valves where they had contacted each other. Not to the point to where it bent the intake valves, because it wouldn't have run, because it wouldn't have a compression, but it did hit them and may have put a little bit of bend in it, which is why that one was difficult to get out. So now we just got to remove the valve seals, and there's one on each one of the valves. We'll just get a flat blade screwdriver. And we're just going to gently pop these up. They are stuck on there fairly hard, but not anything you need a puller for or anything. But there are old valve seals. Never, ever, ever, ever reuse valve seals. And I would highly recommend replacing them every time if you've got to take the valves out to get into the engine. They're inexpensive, and they can definitely, if you don't replace them, can lead to oil consumption, especially at idle. I'm going to go clean this in the parts washer, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now we've got I've washed the head, and I went ahead while I was out and used the roll-lock pad on this top surface too, just so we didn't have to have another microphone warning. Now, at this point, we're going to replace the valve seals, and these are the valve seals. When you order your top end kit, they generally will come with them, but you need to make sure that it does. Now, we buy these in bulk, so we build a lot of motors, but before you install these, it's really important to get just a little bit of oil, just regular engine oil. Now, this is a 500 Polaris, so of course it'll use 0W40 oil. I'm going to soak these in 1040, which doesn't make any difference in the world, but they need to be lubricated just a bit, because that's the only lubrication they're going to see on the inside. So once these are installed, you're not going to have any lubrication on the back side of this, so you don't want to run this dry against the new valve stem. So we're going to take these out. Don't have to soak them. I mean, you're not actually, they're rubber, so it's not going to soak it up, but we'll take these and we'll just push these onto the ends of the guides until they stop, and they fit pretty firm. Let me adjust the camera angle just a bit and maybe zoom in a little bit here. And that's going the wrong way. Okay, yeah, I think you can see that one pretty good. All right, I'm going to take this and we will push this on. Like I said, just push it on firmly until it stops. And after you got to make that little grunt sound. That lets you know it's fully seated in there. No, I'm just kidding, but typically you're going to end up doing something. But anyway, let's back that back out. I'll put the other two valve seals on. With or without the grunt. Grunt's optional, but I do need to turn it around so I can get a better angle at it. They definitely fit tight, which is fine. There we go. There's a good grunt on that one. That one's on there really good. And I know the volume of the grunt itself helps seat the seal. So, anyway. Alright, so if we're finished grunting, all of the seals are on there. Okay, I'm going to take this oil and put it right over here, get it out of the way so we don't knock it down. Now we're going to reinstall the valves. So the reinstall the valves is going to be the same thing we did to get them out, just backwards. So I'm going to turn it up. This way you can see installation of the keepers. Come in just a little bit. We're going to start with our exhaust valves. Open this up. Now, you're going to notice that I'm not going to do something that you may or may not have seen in the past. In the early days, you would what they call lap these valves in, or put a valve grinding compound and run the valves back and forth and seat them into the valve seats. You don't do that anymore because the valves are coated with a wear coating. If you use a grinder on them, if you use a grinding compound on it, you're going to grind that hardened coating off, and that's going to lead to premature valve wear. So don't lap them in or grind them in or use any kind of grinder on them, because it's just going to ruin it. So we're going to clamp that back down with these packages, and we're going to put our valve keepers back in. Tell you what, let me pause it just for a second. Let me grab a light from a different side so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Hang on just a second. Okay, hopefully that light is a little bit brighter, but not too bright. So we're just going to take our valve cotters, and if you look closely at these, you will see that they're actually tapered. They're not straight up and down. Let's see if I can get this. You'll see there's a taper to them. You're going to want to make sure that the narrow section of that is down towards the head. So we're going to put this in this way. Slide that in. Hopefully it'll fit in there like it's supposed to. Sometimes they behave themselves, sometimes they don't. This one's being difficult, but I wouldn't have it any different. Alright, we're going to put this in whether you want to or not. They're really easy to get out. They're more difficult to get back in. Okay, that one just fell right back out. Alright, come on now, you can do it. I found that you know, with positive, comfort, motivating speech, the parts try to go back together a little bit easier. So you gotta try to, you know, make them feel confident about themselves and work the positive. So come on now, you can do this. You're a good cotter. Okay, that one's in there. So that positive reinforcement just made it work. All right, now we're going to put this one in like so. And you'll notice they're still kind of look a little funky. If you can see this, they're not really in there all the way, but we're going to gently put that back in because I was going to release the clamp and let you see it pull it up, but it didn't. What the problem is, this is still down too far, so let's bring that where that springs up a little bit higher to help hold those cotters in there. Cotters, valve keepers, I've never seen any part that has different words, people calling it different things, but it's all the same thing. Now we'll release it, and there we go. They are in place and they are fully seated in there. So now we're going to do the next one. Let me move this up just a little bit. I'll leave it zoomed in. That looks like a pretty good angle. With that other light, it shows really well. So I'm going to bring this up, compress, valve keepers, valve cotters. I've never heard them called valve stays, but whatever they are, these little doohickeys, that's kind of a universal term. You can use doohickey for anything. I don't really like thingamajig, it's just too many words. It's just too difficult to say, so doohickey is better. For me, anyway. Alright, let's get this one in. And actually, that one could go just tighten down the clamp just a little bit. Now we'll release this one, and there we go. We've got two successfully reinstalled. Now we're going to do the other two. We'll move it this way a little bit, zoom her back in just a hair, just that way we don't have to move the camera again. There we go. All right, we'll put these in. Oh, well, it would certainly help to put the valve in first. So let's go ahead and put the valve in so we have something to hook to, because I think I read in a service manual or something one time, or maybe it was at a tech class, that it's much easier to install the valve springs and keepers if the valve is in the head. I'll have to go back and maybe check a YouTube video to see if that's true or not. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that will make it a bit easier. Okay, let's try that now. I think that'll work much easier now that we have something to hook to. Go ahead and compress that down. That's a pretty good shot. Okay. And I'm trying to do this in a way that I'm not covering the camera, so it makes it a little bit more wonky from what I normally do, but it wouldn't help you see it if I had it all covered up. So we're going to do it. So it's a little more difficult for me, and I need to move this light because I'm not seeing that. Okay, that might be better. Is that better? Okay. Let's grab the other keeper that fell out, because yes, I did notice that, but I didn't give it its pep talk, so apparently I'm going to need to, reinforce its feelings there. Okay, come on now. You're going to be a mighty little keeper here, and you are going to be the best darn valve keeper ever if you'll just go in there. They'll write songs about you. But maybe not. Let's bring that down just a bit. Sorry, the write songs about you, I line from Dances with Wolves. Okay. Let's see, let's release that. And they went in there and tightened right up, so we're good there. Now we'll do the final spring and keeper installation. As soon as that falls off and is gone from all humanity. Oh, there it is. Alright, let's put this in there. Tighten her down. Stand on my head. Drop the keep. Oh, we forgot the pep talk. Don't forget the pep talk. You're a good little keeper. You can do this. See, look at that. That positive motivation just changes the whole outlook. Alright, so we'll put the last one in. It's sitting in there. Release the clamp. And we're good. So let's zoom out a little bit. And let's talk about what we did. Okay, so we've decarbonized the head in the combustion chamber. This is what it looks like now. We've got new valves, new seals, clean sealing surfaces, and we're ready to reinstall on the engine. So I'm guessing we're going to wrap for now for this video, and then I'm going to do a video. I'm going to start recording it immediately. Actually, I don't know if they'll get posted at the same time, but I'm putting the bottom end back together on this, and then reassembly of the engine. So I'm going to pause for a minute, reset the camera, and I'll do the outro, and we'll catch up with you. Okay, so we got the head built. Ooh, this light's bright. So we got the head built. We got, like I said, new valves, seals, decarbonized. Everything's cleaned up and ready to go. Appreciate you watching this video. If you found it helpful, please feel free to hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. It helps us build the channel. If you want to see more of this content, you can subscribe. It's free to you, but it certainly helps us build our channel. And if you really feel like you liked it and you want somebody else to be able to see it, share this video and encourage them to watch it, and maybe they can help work on their own machine as well and do it correctly. If you want to know the next time we post a video, like I said, there's going to be more videos in this series for this specific engine. Hit that notification bell and you'll be the first to know when that content hits the web. We appreciate it, as always. Thank you for watching, and you can catch us on the web at our shop website at www.jwsrepairservices.com. Thanks.